Arsenal and Barcelona in Lisbon, Portugal. Arsenal, their first Champions League final in 18 years. Meanwhile, Barcelona, they're looking to win their third straight, their fourth in 5 years. And we are going to preview every aspect of this game. But instead of just Christine, Jen, and myself chit-chatting about it, why don't we bring you someone who is playing in the game? Because we are so pleased to welcome into attacking third Australian international Arsenal defender, Steph Catley. Steph, welcome into A3.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Now, Jen and Steph, teammates, long time back. Jen, how'd you meet? How far back do you two go?
Oh, we go way back. P.S. Hi, Steph. How you doing? No, we go way back. Steph and I first met in 2015, actually, when I had the awesome opportunity with joining Melbourne FC for my off-season from the WSL. And we had the best time. 4 months spent in Melbourne. Steph's obviously a local Melbourne. And I think you must have been about 21, Steph. I was 24, 25. And we just had the best time. And honestly, since then, I was like, when are you coming to England? When are you coming to the league? Come time for, I was trying to get her over, and then reunited. She eventually signed for Arsenal, and best mates ever since. Neighbours, literally. I lived in the apartment above Steph, and we were neighbours. Still, that's our nickname for each other, neighbours. I take the the Australian. Yeah. So, yeah.
So, Steph, you've known Jen for a minute now, let's just say, which means chaos stories. Give us some dirt on our friend Jen Beattie. Give us a funny story, because from knowing each other when you're 21, 24, being neighbors, I'm sure there's some gold gems in there.
Honestly, there's not a lot. She's a very, very solid human in every capacity.
Are you reading off a cue card, Steph?
Yeah.
Yeah. Tell me what to say. No, she really is. And like most of the things that are mostly just like funny that come to mind. Like we were talking earlier about her. So a few of us were meeting her partner for the first time in London, and she was coming to visit. And we were supposed to be there at a certain time, and Jenny and partner rolled in about 45 minutes late.
So sorry.
Not like her at all. So that's why it sticks in my head. But other than that, honestly, amazing human. And one of my favorite things that you do is when we're like doing something nice, like not football world, like say you've had a few drinks or we're just doing something lovely, and you're constantly saying, guys, I'm just having a really nice time. And it's like every 10 minutes, it's like her check-in. She's like, having the best time. We're like,
not Jen with the constant feedback. She's like, I just want you to know this is still a nice time.
Well, I'm having a really nice time already. So there you go. I do say that, and I know it made you laugh every single time, and it would be so genuine every single time, and I'd forget that was my thing I would do, and then I'd just see you laughing, and I'd be like, what's happening?
That's a good one. Hopefully, Jen, I've never heard you say that to us here at A3. So I'm still waiting on.
She's not having a good time.
She's not.
Guys, trust me, I'm having a great time. I'll say it right now. Steph's on the pod. I'm loving it. I'm happy.
Right. So now we need Steph to come on every time. We need to get it like, this is going great. We're having a good time.
Yeah.
Well, Steph, we are here to chat with you a little bit about football, because Champions League final is upon us. Congratulations. Heck of a season for Arsenal to make it to a Champions League final with a title on the line against Barcelona. But this is the week all leading up to it. What has the week looked like from inside the Arsenal camp, the preparations, everything going into this Champions League final?
Yeah, it's actually been a bit of a strange one, because we've actually had 2 weeks of prep. We've had no game. And for a season that, as long as we've been playing multiple games a week mostly. So it's been a little strange, but it's been also a great reset, because it has been a long season and a lot of us have played a lot of minutes. So it's been nice. We've had a little block where we had a couple of days off, and then we came back in and we were refreshed and ready to put our heads down and get training. And we had last week a really tough week of training where we really pushed ourselves physically, and then this week has been mentally challenging in the way that we've prepared for the game in a tactical sense. So it's been busy but very effective, and now we're getting close to the game. I feel like we were 100% ready and we know exactly what we want to do. And now it's just about, having our last training session and getting some energy and then just being ready for the game. So we're all very excited.
I saw was there a Legends lunch, Steph, that from the winners from 2007 came in and had lunch with you guys. Do you feel the sort of the height of the game coming into this final? I know you've had 2 weeks to kind of think about it. I know it's been a positive for rest, but are you feeling the height of it now? And how was it having lunch with legends that have been there, done it, and won it in 2007?
Yeah, I think that was incredible for us as a playing group to see those girls. That we obviously know who they are and we know their stories, but meeting them and being able to speak to them about the day and obviously what it meant to them at the time to win and what it means to them now watching us in the same situation. I think that's the amazing thing about Arsenal is that the history and the culture at the club is so, so strong, and the players who play for this team, they never forget that, and it means a lot to them. And, the fact that those girls won a Champions League final, everyone still talks about that. That's the only English team to do it. And that's a really proud thing, playing for Arsenal, but for our supporters too. So if we were to be able to do that a second time, then I think it would just make a lot of people proud. And, the players, like me specifically, I come from Australia, so I don't have the deep roots in English football as a lot of like Aaliyah does, for instance, but I've been at the club a long time and I care deeply about it. So to do something like this would mean a lot.
Yeah, Steph, you mentioned the history, and obviously this team, very different from the 2007 team. I'd say they're equally strong, but you guys had an interesting trajectory, especially having Renee come in as interim in October and then get fully appointed in January. It's been remarkable what you've all been able to do collectively. And this obviously as a debutante manager going into a Champions League final. Has that sort of changed the way that you guys have kind of galvanized together as a team to come into this? Because this is a big moment for all of you.
Yeah, definitely. I think obviously there's a lot of challenges that come with getting a new coach at that point in the season. But I think and to be fair, Renee put a lot of onus on us as individuals as well. And, we've got a lot of experience in our team. So it wasn't just, all falling on Renee's shoulders. It made everyone in the team step up and have to do that little bit more and challenge each other a little bit more. And I think that has held us in really good stead for, the other games that have come after that. And I think Renee does a really good job of putting confidence into individuals that allows their strengths to come out. She sets us up in a structure that allows for individuality and for expression. And that's been the most important thing, I think, is that the players take ownership for that, but then we back each other and we've got the backing of the manager as well. So I think that's when you see us playing our best football is, when all of that's flowing. And she's brought out the best in us in that sense.
It is really impressive to see a new manager come in and do what she's done with your group and this team. And I'm not sure how keyed into the media and the press you are about your team, but there are definitely players on Arsenal that get a lot of the spotlight and the highlight for very deserved reasons. But who is someone that isn't talked about enough on your team that you want to give some love to, that's putting in the work and really helps this team take steps forward?
I would say there's probably two people that come to mind. The first, she gets a little bit of praise, but probably not as much as she deserves. But Caitlin Ford, I could honestly talk about her all day. As a teammate being on the field with her, it's hard to describe, but if she's not on the field, I feel the absence of Caitlin because she does so much work off the ball that not many people would see unless you're in the game. It's her movement, it's blocking lines, it's her press and her decision-making in those moments. Her work rate is second to none. And obviously get to play alongside her for national team too. So I just see it consistently all the time. She gets some praise, but I think she honestly deserves so much more. I think she's been up there with our player of the year. easily. And then the other one's probably Kim. She's just winding back the clock at the moment, and she's, for me, one of the most underrated players in women's football and always has been. And yeah, she just doesn't get the recognition. I see it at training every day, and she's just unbelievable. She's still playing like she's 20. So yeah, we'll keep that going for Kimmy.
I think it's interesting when you name one Scot and one Aussie, and then I've always said when you play with someone though, you appreciate them so much more. And I think, you know, you played with Kate since I was a young kid. I've played with Kim since I was a young kid, so I completely get both of them. Steph, I'd love to get into the Barcelona game a little bit more and just ask you, what has the focus been on this week, and what does it take, do you think, to beat a team like Barcelona that have completely stormed their way to the final? With so much high quality, what does Arsenal need to do to beat this team on Saturday?
Yeah, I mean, we've had lots of chats about their threats and their ability, and we have so much respect for them as a team. We obviously know what they're capable of, and they've done it at the highest level consistently. But we're obviously going there to win, and we have a lot of belief in what we're capable of. And when we're at our best, we believe we can match any team in the world. And, you know, Barcelona are the best of the best, and have been over, you know, a couple of years now. So it's the ultimate challenge, but we know if we are at our best and we're doing everything we need to. The details are there, the intensity's there, and we are together as a team. You know, anything's possible. And I think, you know, we've got the attacking threats going forward. We've scored a lot of goals. We've learned a lot over especially the last couple of weeks with some of the league games we've played. Learned a lot defensively that maybe we needed to tighten up on, and little things structurally that we needed to tighten up on. And I think we're now poised at a perfect position where we can just go and be us and play. And as long as we're at, you know, our best, then we feel like we can win.
The season and the team has all been building to this moment. It sounds like you guys are ready. You're in the right headspace, and tactically it's going to be very fun to watch. Steph, thanks for hanging with us. Thanks for the chat.
No worries at all. Thanks for having me.
Good luck this weekend.
Thanks, guys. Bye, Jenny.
Bye, Nova.
Oh, that was really fun. Jen, that was cool. Thanks. Thanks for hooking us up with that one.
She is the best. I can't wait. I'm so excited for her. I'll be at the game on Saturday. I'm so excited for everyone, but she's been one of my best mates in the team, and pleasure to have her on the podcast now. So I was really happy she could make it with us.
Yeah, it was cool to hear kind of an inside perspective, right, of what the team is going through, because we've talked a lot about Arsenal Barcelona and this matchup and how we're going to get here. But now the game is actually here. And when we look at how far Arsenal has come, can they take it that one more step? Because another kind of wrinkle of this final matchup is leading into it, Arsenal went down in leg ones of both the quarterfinal and the semifinal. Now it's just a one-off game against Barcelona. Jen, you've said in the past that it could be an advantage for Arsenal.
For sure. Absolutely. I don't think any team wants to come against Barcelona twice, right? We've seen, and that's like that's just a credit to how good Barcelona are. And I think we've seen the way they've stormed through quarterfinals, semifinals, so many goals, so many incredible players. But for me, I love the humility side of Arsenal and the players that they how they speak in the media, and because they know, look, after that semi-final win against Lyon, they have conceded a lot of goals in WSL, and Steph said it there, that their focus has been on defensive structure, making little tweaks, seeing where they can be really tight-knitted going into this game on Saturday, because they know themselves they have to play the perfect 90-minute game. And if they do, they know their forward players can go and score goals. They've done it against the best. They did it against Lyon, took the game to them away from home. I know the Arsenal fans are going to be travelling and there and supporting them, but no, they've been working on all the right things. And I think having that break is going to be key, because we all know it's a long season. This is a squad stacked with international players that have been traveling constantly for 10 months of the year. And that little break, I think, not just physically, but mentally, will be so key going into this game on Saturday.
recent form matters up until a point when it doesn't. And then it comes down to mentality, right? I mean, like, that sounds so basic and simple to say, but it's the truth, because heading into this, the last time Arsenal played, they conceded 12 goals in their final 3 games that they played. That is so uncharacteristic of Arsenal. But now they've had 2 weeks to recover from that. So to have that recent defensive weakness the last time they played, I think is actually going to help Arsenal, because they have that bitter taste and memory in their mind of picking the ball out of their own net that they don't want to do. And obviously the stakes are so much higher heading into a final. It changes everything, but to come off of a couple games where you lose or a couple games where you win, it can set the tone, but then it comes down to the mental fortitude on the other end of it and being bought into the tactics and what your game plan is for a game.
I think that's exactly the extra something, Lisa, that you hit the nail on the head, because what they've shown this season, all in, irrespective of who is managing, is this team has remarkable resilience. And sometimes that is exactly what you need to get you over the line. You take some losses, you learn from them, you move forward, you know how to crawl back up out of the hole.
We also have to look at this Barcelona side, because man, oh man, they're so good. Week in and week out, year in and year out. Of course, when you look at Champions League form, they've won it the last 2 times. They're looking to win it a 3rd year in a row. But their recent form heading into this has frankly been the opposite of Arsenal's. 3 shutouts, and they've put away goals. 6-0 against Athletic Club, 9-0 against Real Betis, and then 4-0 against Deportivo. Now, not the best attacking opposition that they're going up against, but when you talk about recent form, it has to be something weighing in the minds of Barcelona that I think could actually hurt them, because Arsenal is not going to give Barcelona any space, right? If you just sit back and you allow Barcelona to play, that is their game plan. Arsenal have to disrupt that with high press, making the space between the lines small, being aware of the overloads, because watching Barcelona this year has been so fun, because their rotations have gotten even better and more dangerous with Bonmati and Alexia Putellas and Caroline Graham-Hansen. They drop to make this almost box in the midfield and overload numerical places that outplay their opponents. It's going to pull apart Arsenal's midfield. That's the goal for Barcelona, to separate their 2 6s or their 2 10s, get them a little bit wider, and then sit in that pocket. But for Barcelona, if they get 1, I think it's really scary. There has to be some mitigation, because, guys, this Barca side, they know how to score consistently.
Yeah. Well, against all the top teams.
Every big team has a loss. You know, like, they even lost the regular season to somebody that you wouldn't even expect them to. It wasn't like it was a loss to a Real Madrid. There's a figuring out there. I think that part of it is like not being afraid of them. Like, you know what you have to do, execute. And that's a big ask. I'm going to be honest, because you need to not get in your own head.
I think what the special thing about Barcelona, and I've said this a few times now, you're looking at a team now that wasn't just made overnight, right? You've got players that have come out of academy, that have been playing this system of football since they were really young, coming through the ranks, playing that back foot receive, rotation football, free-flowing, possession-based football that every team wants to play, but not many have the players to kind of execute it the way Barcelona does. And I'm so intrigued. I completely agree, Cupo. What will be the mentality of Arsenal? Will they take the game to them? Because that's what they did against Lyon, and it completely worked. Lyon did not expect it whatsoever. But all it'll take, and we saw that again against Lyon, they get the press wrong once, and it's a goal. They have too much quality to even allow them gaps and spaces. And then on the flip side, if they do sit in, compact the spaces, you can't collapse. You can't collapse until it's a back 6, a back 7, and you're just suffering, right? There's a big difference being comfortable without the ball and suffering. And I think that's the balance that Arsenal need to nail. But Barcelona have been I've been in awe watching them actually this season, and it doesn't get much bigger than trying to beat them for a Champions League final.
All right, final points from both of you or either of you about this game, whether it's a player to watch or a matchup on the pitch or an area where this game is going to be won or lost. Jen, what stands out to you for fans to watch?
I think I love the sort of Bonmati against Kim Little. I think is just like it doesn't get a bigger matchup. If there's anyone that's going to stop Bon Mati getting spaces in front of a back four, it's going to be Kim Little. I think the way that she performed across the semi-finals was phenomenal. Was lucky enough to chat to her at the start of the week about it. And so in terms of matchups, how to keep the best players quiet. Of course, they have quality absolutely everywhere. And then Caroline Graham-Hansen on the flanks against Emily Fox or Katie McCabe, whatever side she chooses, she might flip and go either side. But she's one of the best 1v1 players in the game. Phenomenal taking on players that inside, outside, you don't know what way she's going to go. So hard to defend. So Emily Fox needs to be on her A game, which she has been. So
I am so intrigued about that flank play with Caroline Graham-Hansen, whether it's Fox or Katie McCabe, and how, frankly, how Arsenal utilized the space higher up the field to try to mitigate some of what Caroline Graham-Hansen does. Because, right, they could push up Emily Fox high, look to get Caroline Graham-Hansen push back a little bit more and defend, which she doesn't want to do. She's going to try to cheat. To me, the game is going to be won or lost in those small moments and small areas of who can be brave with and without the ball in those spaces, whether they're giving up the space or trying to take it away from opposition. Those really small moments in the flank, it's going to be so fun to watch that battle.
Yeah, I think it'll come down to a little bit of that disruption that you're pointing out, because obviously Barcelona are going to want to possess. They're going to want to dictate the tempo. It's going to be some of those disruptors. Look, they're going to probably try to isolate Alessia Russo because she's just such a threat. But then you still have, again, like Katie McCabe, Foxy on the flanks. You have Caldente who can get in there and make some trouble. I think it's going to be where we're looking at a more comprehensive team performance out of Arsenal than Barca relying on some individual standouts that obviously you're going to try to gum up the works the best that you can.